was Flaragale by Philip Sparks, with featured soloist Sergeant Mark Helen, soprano saxophone. Staff Sergeant, I apologize. Our third group today represents victims from the Pentagon. Molly McKenzie. She was a budget analyst and a 14-year-old veteran of the Department of the Army Civilians. Molly was a very dedicated mother who would do anything for her two daughters, Leah and Elena. Molly enjoyed riding bikes with them, playing at their birthday parties, and shared their love of piano with the girls. She prayed for her daughters constantly. Molly had an inner beauty. She spoke little and loved a lot. If she were still with us today, she would say, "Never lose sight of what we're really here for, serving and trusting in God, even when life doesn't make any sense." She is deeply missed, but will always be remembered by her family. Kang Noim. He earned a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from the University of Maryland, and for 10 years he worked for the Defense Information Systems Agency. During the last 3 years at the agency, Kang worked for the Science Applications International Corporation as a systems administrator at the U.S. Navy Command Center in the Pentagon. Tu, his wife, said she hadn't been able to tell their 4-year-old son An what had happened to his father. On the afternoon of September 12th, the day after the attacks, the Pentagon arranged for Khan's car to be towed from the Pentagon parking lot back to their home. Family members said that the little boy jumped up and down, pressing his face against the car windows, looking for his dad. Matthew Michael Flacco. Matthew was a 21-year-old Navy aerographer's mate, second class. He was in the Pentagon on the morning of September 11th when the plane hit the building. If it had been just a few days earlier, Matthew wouldn't have been there. He had recently been transferred off the night shift. The weekend before the attacks, Matthew was home from Fort Myer for a visit. This was a typical visit where he would spend time hanging out with friends and playing horseshoes. There was a Sunday breakfast of sweet pepper onion omelets and then a drive to the train station. The train was running a little bit late, which gave Sheila, Matthew's mother, a few extra minutes with her son. As the train pulled in, she gave Matthew one last hug and said goodbye. Sandra Nadine Foster. She started her career with the federal government in 1977 as a summer aide for the Federal Power Commission. Sandra returned the following summer to the Department of Energy, and in August of 1978, she accepted a position with the Defense Intelligence Agency. Throughout her career, Sandra was devoted to excellence, which was demonstrated through the numerous awards she had received for outstanding performance. Sandra and her husband Kenneth married on March 9, 1991. To Sandra, her family was the most important thing in life. In the words of her husband, March 9, 1991 was the most special day of my life. I will never forget that day and that special moment when those church doors swung open and she was escorted by her brother to me. When she walked through the door, my life was changed. She never wore makeup. Her beauty was natural. Her radiance could light up a room with her and light up your heart. Our girls on the basketball team knew her as Ms. Coach. She was a pillar of strength, and she shared that strength. She was royalty, so I called her Duchess. She was better than queen and more valuable than a princess. A fun lady, full of love for all, but a special love for me. The Vice Chairman of the Jacksonville Youth Council, Gabrielle Landy.
Please bow your heads as I offer this prayer. A decade ago, we as a nation were unable to ponder what this moment meant. At this point in time, we still grieve and still search for meaning, for comfort, and for our mission. I pray to you, my Lord, that grief does not overwhelm us, that these deaths of these citizens, randomly selected, and whose families, friends, loved ones, and associates who are greatly missed, are not missed without meaning. I pray that you provide comfort, that all know of your grace, your forgiveness, your mercy, and your compassion. I pray to you, my Lord, that our mission becomes clear, that we stand here today remembering what happened 10 years ago, and that is part of our mission, that we endure, prosper, and carry forth, and that is also part of our mission, that we embrace each other's diversity, difference, and sameness, that we celebrate our commonness as Americans, as citizens of the world, and as human beings. I pray to you, my Lord, that my generation accepts this mantle of responsibility, that we come to know the great mission that you provide for us. And I pray, my Lord, that we cause others to gather at this site and sites like this annually, and that we remember what happened. And dear Lord, I pray for guidance. This day, I pray, at this time, in order to memorialize who we so sadly remember and who have been lost. Amen.
The Cardinal Chamber Strings of Jacksonville High School, under the direction of Jolie Brooks. More than 3,000 people will have died as a result of these planes crashing. Please join us in a moment of silence as we reflect on this moment, which has changed our lives forever. And now James Sutton and Jesse Hansley.